play. You've done this before. You've practiced, and even if you haven't practiced as much as you would have liked, you know how to play this instrument, and just play. Whatever happens. I think there's definitely a flow to it, and that's no matter what music you're playing. I mean, when you're playing classical music, even on the end, a lot of classical is very structured, but just play. Wrong notes happen. I mean, just be careful not to play two wrong notes, or else classical becomes jazz.
Right.
But
right.
No,
then you'll create a band, and then here you'll be. Welcome to the show, guys. Thank you guys for hopping on. Michael Root, thank you for co-hosting with me today.
Glad to be here.
A friend of the show and a
That's
senior
right.
here at the School of Arts where we're recording. And we've got McCormick Emge and Walker King with us today, also seniors at the School of Arts here in Charleston. So welcome to the show. I'm really excited.
Thanks for having us here.
Yeah, man, it's great.
And I want to start out with shout outs because we got some shout outs to give. Michael, anytime you come on the show, you do shout outs for like half the episode, but we definitely want to give honor and give thanks to people. So Mike Christensen, we got to give a shout out to him for allowing us to get here to record in the School of the Arts. Rosemary
Myers.
Myers
Yeah.
Theater. So shout out to Rosemary Myers as well.
RMT.
I hope she's still alive and I hope she's doing well.
I don't believe she
don't
is
think
still
she is.
alive.
And wherever
She is. Oh,
Just informed she is alive.
we shout out to her as well, and shout out to Brandon Lyons, who is on staff here at the school and also helped us to be able to record here in the theater. So
we're definitely really happy to have teachers and staff and facilities that allow us to do things like that. So
Definitely.
very great to be able to use them for something like this. I've never done anything like this before.
I mean, neither. This
And
is
so
the first.
this is great to see something like this happen. So
yeah, and that's so cool because I was saying you guys use microphones all the time. Most of this stuff you guys know way more than me. I'm just learning as I go.
yeah, well, I mean, the text it's just an end. It's a means to the end. So it's what you do with it, and this is a really great, I think, opportunity that you guys have to kind of share things. So.
Yeah, and I'm super
Great.
stoked. We're gonna show off some of you guys' instruments that you guys brought. I know how I do this portable thing. I don't know how you carry around a keyboard and what that looks like, and you got your awesome guitar that you carry around. But we're going to show that off and hopefully interweave some performance stuff here. But we want to get to know you guys, and first and foremost, how did you guys, obviously you go to a music school. We're going to talk about the band that you're in. How did you guys even get into music in the first place?
So
You
I
wanna
guess
take this one
yeah,
first?
I'll talk about it. So I've been playing piano for around 12 years. I started early on playing piano, classical piano for the most part. So I took outside of school, and then I came to School of the Arts in middle school in 6th grade, and from there I tried to further my musicianship with piano. Also have fun, playing things like ukulele, a little bit of drums, not much. But that in 6th grade, coming here was where I really got to learn and experiment with jazz with Joe Clark, who's our jazz teacher for piano here, and that was something that I really liked a lot. And I've grown up listening to jazz. My parents played jazz all the time in our house, and so it's something that I've loved listening to, and just really I got drawn to it. And so being able to learn how to play it was something that was amazing. So I've been studying jazz since 6th grade, and I'm a senior now, and that's really opened up a lot of opportunities for me in terms of just having fun, but also as a job, but also just getting to meet new people and making connections, which I think is one of the biggest things about music, is that it's on both having music that can make connections, but also just the act of making music and playing music can kind of build relationships and connections. So it's been a journey, and I'm still happy to be on it.
I started playing guitar when I was about 8 years old, so I've been doing it for about 10 years now. Started, playing acoustic guitar, took private lessons for a while, and sort of, enhanced it and developed to playing an electric guitar. But, when you talk to pretty much any guitarist, a stereotypical guitarist, if you would say, they start out as rock and roll junkies, pretty much is what it is. And I had my fair share of the rock and roll scene for a while. Got into, been listening to, classic rock, the new age rock ever since I was born, pretty much. Parents raised me on it, and sort of developed it and started listening to more like the heavy metal type stuff. And I was,
we were just talking about Asking Alexandria a little bit. Not so much one of my top 10, but I'm aware of them, and they pop up on my pin.
I remember in middle school, you would always have these heavier bands.
Oh yeah.
I meant to give shout out to Devil Wears Prada, man. I was listening to them the other day, and I was like,
dude,
I gotta give them a shout out, just to give them a shout out, because they're an awesome band.
Heck yeah, man. Big Willie style, man.
Yeah. And Parkway Drive, you mentioned them earlier too.
Parkway Drive is one of my favorite for sure. Day to Remember, Bring Me the Horizon, all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
But
yeah, when I got into high school, throughout my middle school year though, I've been here since 6th grade, just like McCormick has been. And I'm a band major, and throughout middle school you can't really play guitar in the band. There's no set guitar major in a way. So I had to be a band major, and started playing trombone in 6th grade. And throughout my entire middle school life, I was striving to make it into the jazz band here in high school. And when I got that opportunity to audition in 8th grade, I took it. And I was very fortunate to be one of the very few freshmen that make it into the top jazz band here at this school. And ever since I was in 9th grade, my love for jazz has just continued to grow and grow. And I just developed, it's a whole new animal in a way. Especially on an instrument like guitar. People don't classify guitar as a jazz instrument, but in my heart, I truly think guitar is a very key, important instrument in jazz music. Some of the best jazz guitarists out there: Pat Metheny, Pat Martino, George Benson. I'm just naming some names, and of course Freddie Green, that was with the Count Basie Orchestra back in the 30s.
Come on.
I don't
know who they are, but I'm sure they're awesome.
Oh yeah, well, that's how I feel with the metal guys. So it's like.
Me too, McCormick. Yeah. Me too.
You don't know who they are, but you know they're awesome?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I don't know, Kyle. The heavy metal bands that you made me listen to, they're pretty out there.
For the record, I've never forced you to listen.
That is true.
To music. I might have turned it on and said don't touch my radio.
Yeah,
but that's.
I chose to ride in your car.
You could have closed. You could have closed your ears, Michael. I'm just saying.
But like Walker was saying, it's interesting, and I think the jazz stuff is important. I'll go Walker. I'll let you get back to what you're talking about. But we just played a piece dedicated to Django Reinhardt, another great jazz guitarist.
Fantastic jazz guitarist, and jazz just goes so many different ways. You got your swing, your ballads, and then my personal favorite. McCormick knows this. Everybody who asks me, "What's your favorite style of jazz?" They know this. Funk music is where my heart's at. It's always been rock and roll and metal as well, but funk's just got this special place in my heart because, It's unique. It's that borderline between rock and roll and jazz in the same way. It's like right in the middle, and it makes people want to move. I have yet to meet a person that says, I hate listening to funk music, or I don't particularly like funk music. It doesn't make me want to move or anything like that. I've never met a person before in my life that said they didn't like funk music.
Yeah, I was listening to you guys' stuff on your channel on YouTube, and just makes the word that comes to mind for me at least is good vibes. Just kind of like good vibes. I know there's more to it, but yeah, it kind of begs to be appreciated to a large extent.
Yeah, I think that's definitely important.
This is definitely an important part. It's called vibing. We all vibe on stage.
Vibing.
Yeah, you gotta have a good stage presence that backs up what you're playing, and it adds to the music. I think is you've got what you're playing, but then you've also got what you're feeling, and if you can combine the two and make it so that you can get the audience to feel that way, that's one of the best feelings you can have.
Yeah,
that's your key moment right there. And I will tell you though that there are a couple bands, and I think that we can attest to maybe ourselves as well. When a funk band or a jazz band plays live, it's a totally different atmosphere when you're listening to it on the record and then when you're listening to it live, because you get to have that, you feel the energy of the band when you see them live. My favorite funk band is Lettuce, and I've seen them twice.
I saw y'all cover at least one of their songs.
Yeah, we do a few of them.
Have y'all put that on a record? I know y'all released like a CD recently.
Yeah, our CD is most of our original stuff, and then we have one Lettuce cover, Phyllis. Yeah, that's a really fun one to play.
That's a great one.
That's really cool.
But with going back to what Walker was saying, I think jazz, we both talked about, has such a special place in our hearts, and it's such an influencing music, and I think that's what drew us to it. And I'm happy to have a school here where I can explore it, but it's really something that I just would recommend people explore, because there's so many different things, and it's great recorded, it's also amazing live because it's interesting in that it's about experimentation. And mostly, no matter what subgenre of jazz you're listening to, there's going to be some kind of exploration, some kind of maybe improvisation or solos that go on, and that's what makes it interesting, is that it's music, and you can listen to it and say, oh, hey, that's Billy's Bounce, I recognize that song. But it's not going to be the same than how you've heard it before, because everybody puts their own spin on it.
Yeah, that's key. That's why it's art.
That's why it's art.
Yeah.
There's a structure. There's also not a lot of structure. It's music with rules, but without rules. I don't know. It's a good mix, and I think it fits.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know who said it. I mean, countless people have said it. I mean, jazz is like this type of music that, like, I'll say a quote yet again. I don't know who said it. One wrong note is a mistake. 2 wrong notes is jazz, is what it is, pretty much.
It's a good rule to live by.
Sometimes it sounds like that.
Yeah, but I mean, just like McCormick was saying, I mean, you hear one song, you see it live, we hear it on a record and go, man, that's awesome. And you hear another person play it the next day and you go, I sort of remember that song, but that's totally different. It's somebody, they're always looking to, take it to the next level, enhance it, build on this idea. That's pretty much how I view music.
And that's one thing, it's I think with music in general too, you can extend it to most music. But sometimes, and I know I kind of fell into this every once in a while, is thinking of when someone plays a song they haven't written, it's a cover. But with jazz especially, and I think with other music, you can play another song, and it's about how you perform it. It's about what you do with it. You're not just trying to play something somebody else wrote. It's you're playing something and you're making it your own. It's not really stealing, because there's a beauty and an artwork to writing music, and that's something that I want to delve into more. But there is definitely still an art to performing, that you can make something your own as well, and you can have a credit for what you have created with what somebody else has started.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I heard recently, I think it was some kind of sermon or something in a church, about the difference between replicating and duplicating. And so you're not just duplicating something, but you're kind of replicating, but it's still your own, which is what you guys are going for, which I really like it. And Michael plays jazz. You practice what, like 13, 14 hours a day? How many days? He practices all the time, and so I'll be going to his house to see his family, and he'll be always practicing. So my understanding of jazz primarily comes from Michael here. So
Well, I'm just trying to catch up with the both of y'all.
Hey, but that's a great thing though, and I think practice is important. I need to do more of it.
Now, jazz and funk, though, y'all mentioned those two kind of words. Are they synonymous, or
so
how does that fit?
I think it's interesting, and it really depends on who you ask. Funk, I think, funk is a genre, so is jazz. But you could consider funk derivative of jazz. You could consider all music derivative of
Something.
tribal rhythms. Yeah. So I think it's a combination. I think that chronologically, lots of genres of jazz kind of inspired funk, and that music kind of came together with some of the rock and roll, pre-rock and roll, and jazz kind of blend together. You got funk, you've got soul, you've got a bunch of different things coming together, fusion music. And so
fusion, keyword there.
I think that you can get, I think it does kind of fall in the way of jazz, and I think that I would still consider myself a jazz musician. And it doesn't have to fall into, music doesn't have to fall into a specific genre, but sometimes it helps to categorize it. So I think that calling our music funk would be true. I think that also calling our music jazz would be true too. Maybe even rock in some cases. And I think that
it's just I mean, like you said, keyword there is fusion. I mean, when I think of fusion, I feel like, multiple, if not like a ton of stuff just coming together. I mean, I feel like when we first started, we definitely were trying to go in the direction of some bands. We're like, we need to follow this sound, we need to follow that sound. But, since we started back, when did we start? April, probably. Yeah. April last year. It's crazy.
April 2017.
April 2017.
Okay, so almost a year now.
Yeah.
And why don't you go ahead, kind of introduce your band that we've kind of talked around.
Okay.
So Fusion Jonez. And should we be enunciating the Z? Fusion Jonez.
I'm not sure.
I think it's like jazz, up to personal interpretation.
Yeah.
Just as long as it's not like a Fusion Jonez or something like that.
Fusion phones.
Right.
Fusion phones.
Right.
So
Fusion Jonez.
Fusion Jonez.
So why did you choose Fusion Jonez as your band title.
Well,
take this
And
one,
I prefer
McCormick?
that there be an embarrassing story involved.
I will
That'd be-
take
Yeah, it
that'd
this
be
sounds like
plus.
there's a good story
So,
behind it.
That'd be
we
a
can
plus.
sort of talk about how we got the band together, but yeah, first I'll preface
Sure.
this with our band currently is composed of Walker King, guitar. We have Jalen Williams. He's on the tenor saxophone. I'm sorry, Jalen.
Say that one.
He's on the tenor saxophone.
Tenor.
So we have two saxophonists.
I'm not
we
musical,
have,
man, so you
well, we
gotta
have,
break it
here we go.
down.
This will allow me to
Michael,
kind
help
of
me.
redeem myself here for I'm sorry, Jalen, but the we have Tanner Kirk on the alto saxophone and Jalen Williams on the tenor saxophone.
Alto and
And
tenor.
Exactly. So just like how
Not
you
the
have
tender.
no. So generally, when you have in music, you have different kinds of instruments, different kind of voice ranges. So you can kind of, I guess you can. It's kind of equivalent to how you have sopranos, altos, tenors in a chorus. The tenor saxophone is a little bit larger than the alto saxophone. It's a little bit deeper. I'm definitely not an expert to talk about this. I do not understand how saxophone works.
Well, you're fooling me right now.
I picked up Tanner Kirk's saxophone when we had a concert on Monday, and I was looking at it and I was just like,
It's too many keys.
I don't know what any of these buttons or keys do.
You're telling me too many keys, and you play the keys.
Well,
Come on now.
see, but those are all nicely, those are lined up nicely. The saxophone has one here, has one here.
You got to
and
reach to fit your instrument, man. At least on the sax, I'm assuming it's all
There's
right
a button
there.
that closes one all the way down at
Yeah.
the bottom.
I
You're
like the
what?
xylophone thing. I like that. That's my favorite instrument.
Yeah, like the accordion and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my favorite to play. I don't know how the heck to play it. I can play the triangle.
That works.
The triangle.
Kyle.
That's the alto triangle.
dingy
It's called a
thing.
triangle.
Yeah.
You know.
No, so Fusion Jonez. We have Jalen Williams on tenor saxophone, Tanner Kirk on the alto saxophone, Walker King on guitar, Asher DiBernardo on drums. Greg Hayward is our bass player. We also have another bass player who is one of the forming members, Jeremy Halenko, who's currently out in Arizona studying in college.
Nice.
And then I'm on keys, and we have Davis Ginn on trumpet. And so, with the exception of Davis, we are all graduates or currently studying at School of the Arts. Davis goes to Wando. He's in the Wando Jazz Band.
Oh, cool.
So it's great to kind of bring in a bunch of different people. I think that's important with the band. So we started. I'll get back to the story proper here with the name of Fusion Jonez.
Yeah,
So
I haven't forgotten.
When we originally started Fusion Jonez, we needed a name. We didn't really have a name. It started off just, I think, Walker wanted to get the band together. I've wanted to get a band together. It's been something that I know I've always wanted to do in school. When I came to SOA in 6th grade, I was like, oh, yeah, it's music school. We're gonna form a
Form
band.
bands all
We're
the
gonna do
time,
great.
man.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And
Michael, is that what people do? People think that when you go to musical school, you're like, I'm gonna form a band.
I definitely thought
You-
that.
you
coming
thought that
in.
too?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
But
Yeah.
then, like, what is it like? 1%
it's
do.
just like, oh well.
You'd be surprised how many people just want to go. I think when people get to high school, they shut down and they're like, I just need to get out of here. Just
so
like,
true. Just
we just
graduate
want to
and
get
move
out.
on.
We want to graduate and move on. But then some people they like to do like their own thing, their own solo
Yeah,
thing.
right.
Because I mean,
there's a merit to that too.
yeah.
Yep.
But when we created Fusion Jonez, we've done a few gigs, we've done some performances, mostly for school stuff and for ourselves. But we were trying to figure out a name, and I wasn't there when it first happened. I know that I think it was Walker and Jeremy and maybe a few other members were huddling around a computer with a random name generator trying to find something.
Oh,
And it came up with, or it eventually inspired the name Bingo Jones and the Dental Caps. I thought it was fantastic.
That's catchy. Come on.
I thought it was great.
Bingo Jones and the Dental Cap.
You've got Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Like, I mean,
I think Jeremy actually said that too.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey, they got this," and
it's like, I mean, if you think about it, like
Someone out there is
names,
gonna create
I
Bingo
mean, you've
Jones
got
and
names
Dental
like
Caps.
Yep.
who names their band the Beatles?
That is true.
The Beatles
Yeah.
did, but that's because they
Yeah.
made it that way. They made that a
interesting.
name. So it was
interesting, yeah.
weird to figure out a name. But so we had Bingo Jones and the Dental Caps, which was kind of had some was a point of contention in the band, trying to figure out. I was like, is that interesting enough, or is that just like ridiculous? That's not professional, you know? And so we've been kind of like throwing around different names, and we were playing at a band fundraiser at the Rusty Bull just down the
Yeah.
road.
and that was our
I-
first show. That was our first show.
That was
man.
our first show.
Well, I'll give a shout out to Ben Mayer because he owns it. I don't know if y'all know. I don't know if y'all met Ben, but I actually lived with him and his family
Oh, really?
for 6 months. Small world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Rusty
we
Bull.
were performing there, and we put a hat out with to try to find more ideas because we were still kind of like dry on ideas. So we put a hat out for people to write names in. We got some interesting things. We got some new ideas. We got some which maybe not. But we still kind of were trying to figure out a name, and Bingo Jonez the Dental Caps at this point wasn't really going to happen. But we were trying to figure out a name. Walker wanted something that was I think you wanted something that was a little bit more kind of tied to what we would be playing.
Right. In a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, not directly, but something that was kind of reminiscent of kind of what our music was supposed to be. And so he wanted maybe something funk in it or fusion or something.
I don't know if Funk Jones would have
Funkin' Jones.
I don't know if that would have flew. That could have made famous though.
I was that was one of the things I was like, I don't know
What was one
funk.
of the ones? The guys over at the Dead 27s. Shout out to Dead 27s. All those guys over there. They threw out an idea to Asher, and I think it was called like Disciples of Funk or something like that. That was one of the first ideas.
Yeah, you've got like Ambassadors of Jazz.
Ambassadors of Jazz.
So something like that. And we were kind of sitting there at one of the tables, the rest of people trying to figure out a name, and we ended up. I just kind of was thinking, I was like, what if we kind of like made a compromise or something, kind of fused them together, and I was like, what about Fusion Jonez? And Walker was like, yeah. All right, and everybody else was like, "Oh, well."
I mean, it
Okay.
was one of those moments where like you knew that's what it had to be. It was like the moment when all of us, because I feel like you get like the best names, the best song titles, ideas, band names, anything, when just when something clicks. And as soon as he said that, we all looked at each other and we knew it was like, that's
okay.
it, that's the one. And
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, but then the next challenge was trying to figure out if there was going to be a Z and where the Z was going to go. How many Z's should there be? Should there be a Z? Should it be in Fusion?
I'll
or
be
should
honest.
it be in
At first, I
Jonez?
wasn't sure how to spell fusion, and in my head, I'm still kind of not sure. Is there an H in there? Maybe.
I don't think
No.
there's an H. No.
F-U-I-
Well, how we
S-O-N.
spell it? Yeah, how we spell it is F-U.
I'm pretty sure there's not a C or an H in there, but in my mind, I'm like,
F-U-S-I-O-N.
there might be.
Yes,
There could be.
and Jonez, Jonez with the Z.
So they decided to put the Z in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We put the Z in
Yep,
there.
we
so
did put the
there
Z
was
in
a
there.
Z.
That just makes you wonder enough. Why'd they do that?
Yeah, I
And
think
then
it does.
makes
It's like Jonez isn't. Why do you need a Z? But then it does think it makes people question, which I think is kind of fun about the name, and it shows that we don't take ourselves too seriously, but I think that the music definitely does, and I think
Sure.
that it's a good thing to have a little bit of lightness in that, because we're trying to have fun, and but we also want to have music that's impressive and is interesting and engaging, but also really does leave an impression a little bit like some of those rockers.
Yeah.
But just the Z, so. That's how it came about.
That's how it came about. It
That's
started
it.
with a random band name generator.
That's where all great things start.
I mean, Coldplay started off as Starfish.
Really?
Starfish.
No,
not
it
know
is.
that.
It is funny how many, call it bands or companies or whatever it is, start out different than how we even know them. I think Google. If you research Google, I'm pretty sure I didn't research this lately, but it had a different name.
It was something else.
Had a different name at first.
So who knows? Maybe Fusion Jonez will revert back to Bingo Jonez, the dental caps,
Oh,
at
yeah,
some
maybe.
point later in career.
Sky's the limit.
Nah, but I think right now, Fusion Jonez is a solid choice, and it's
Yeah.
I'm proud to be a member of Fusion Jonez.
Yeah, and it's cool too because friends, on like Instagram, the podcast is friends with, a lot of students your age and rising achievers, and a lot of them are like also following Fusion Jonez or followed by Fusion Jonez. So it's really cool to see, you guys getting known.
It's very
becoming
exciting,
known,
and
as 18-year-olds or
yeah.
17-year-olds or whatever.
we do have a pretty big range of ages.
Oh,
here,
yeah.
So
4 to 24.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Chicks dig the little kids on the stage.
Yeah, Asher does. I don't know. Asher's the youngest member of our band, but I don't know if he's gonna pass for a little kid.
Nah. How old is he? He just turned 16. Yeah. So he's
Asher.
Asher DiBernardo.
What does he play again?
He's our drummer.
I met him, right?
He's our
Yep.
drummer.
just turned 16 back in December. Yep.
Wow, just turned 16.
Just
10th
turned 16.
grade? What
10th
grade?
grade, yeah.
Wow.
But it's great drummer, great member of the band, good friend. And I'm 18.
I turned 17 in about 3 months.
It's
Turned 18 in about 3 months. My mistake. I am 17.
And Greg is our oldest member.
What is
He's
he,
a
like
graduate of SOA.
23,
I think he's
24.
23. And well, he's thereabouts. And so it's I think it also, though, I think that's a testament to our bond as band members and as friends, and fellow musicians, that it's about the music. It's not that great of a range, but there's no age barrier on the music. I think that music in general transcends most boundaries. Even though you had, when jazz started out, or when ragtime came about, there were people like, oh, these youngsters, playing their ragtime and doing their scanty dances, and it curls my blood. But even then, like, music spread, and that was when you didn't have easy accessible or no recordings at all. But that music spreads, and music makes connections, like I said before. So I don't think it really matters what age you are. I just hope that you enjoy music.
Yeah. Love you guys' passion on it, man. That's what makes people successful, makes people do things that are difficult. Because I know being in a band, in your mind, I feel like it's like all stardom or whatever. You get on a stage and, people are like raising the roof for you or whatever it is. But I know there's a lot of challenges in it as well. Right. There's challenges in working with other people, even if they are your friends. I imagine it's a challenge. And then infiltrating, getting, presenting yourself in a way to where you can get gigs. Do you call them gigs?
Yeah.
Gigs, shows.
Gigs or shows, yeah. And Michael was telling me that he had a gig with, I guess, another one of their guys.
Yes, with Jalen.
Jalen, yeah.
And then we also had Cameron. He played bass. He also goes to SOA. And then Alex, who played drums. He also goes to SOA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Outside of Fusion Jonez, we do gigs together. A lot through SOA Jazz Band. We have we have a full big band at school. We have two, actually. We have a jazz and jazz lab, which is like our JV jazz, where they study and kind of learn more about jazz, and they can perform in the bigger band. And so we go out as a big band. We perform all around Charleston. We go to competitions, school competitions as well. Actually, one of the biggest things we do every year is a concert called Jump, Jive, and Wail, which is it's put on by the by SOA Band, but it's a public event. Happens downtown, usually in October, and it's down at the bus shed, and it's an amazing experience as a musician. I hope as a performer. I've only been once where I wasn't performing, so it's an interesting perspective. But we
you're lucky. You're lucky you've been once.
Okay, wait, let's slow down now. So y'all got to play at this cool event. What was the name of the event again?
This is Jump, Jive, and Wail.
Jump, Jive, and Wail in Charleston at the bus shed, which is kind of a big deal. And you got to watch, you got to enjoy it, you didn't have to play?
Well, I enjoyed it once. That was my sophomore year. And then I joined the jazz band my junior year. And so I've been in the jazz band for 2 years now.
Gotcha.
But the performing is amazing because it's a massive show. We have students, lots of students from our school. We have people that just walk in off the street. It's a public event. I think we got over 2,000 people this year, something like that.
Wow. To be in there, it was we've never packed 2,000, but we've gotten, it was probably over 1,000 this year for sure in there.
And it's a big atmosphere. But that's jazz and funk and just a lot of fun big band charts. We play for around 3 hours.
Wow.
And it's a phenomenal experience.
Oh yeah.
And again, that's the School of the Arts Jazz Band.
That's the School of the Arts Jazz Band. And then
that's very cool.
We also have a combo that's made up of SOA Jazz students, mostly Fusion Jonez members actually, but also other jazz band members who we're great friends with and are fantastic musicians. And that's the Usual Suspects, is the name of that group. The Usual Suspects.
I feel like I've heard that name, or is that just like
it's a movie? It's a movie, and it's a great movie. But
that name's been around even before McCormick and I were in the jazz band. That's what they called their combo, were the Usual Suspects.
Usual Suspects.
That's also just now what you call people who are
round them up.
Maybe troublemakers or something. The Usual Suspects.
Round them up. It's the Usual Suspects, pretty much.
And so we go out and we do combo gigs. So smaller jazz groups, we're playing more. Maybe like you might see a combo playing in a lobby or at a dinner or a bar. That's personally my favorite kind of jazz or of strict jazz. Aside from what we play, is this intimate, lively too. You can get into bebop, you can get into a bunch of different things, but it's a smaller group of musicians. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. I don't quite know where the cutoff is for being
a combo,
but it's usually smaller than a big band, and it's a lot of fun. And we've played all around Charleston with the.
We played in the Earl Klug's Weekend of Jazz over on Kiowa for the past 2 years now. That's been one of our major ones, and we've done, office Christmas parties, all this kind of stuff. Pretty much whoever when people are like looking for like small acts to play at like a party, a get together or something, they usually contact Basil Kerr, who's our band director here in the high school, and says I need a small jazz combo or something, and he lets us know, and he's like, I got the perfect group of people for you guys.
It's a lot of fun, and it's been great to gain experience that way. And I think that's definitely helped us in our journey to make our own band. Having that experience, having played gigs before, not just played music, because it is definitely one thing to play together as a band, and then in a rehearsal or in a practice or in a garage, and a completely different thing to go out and be in front of people.
Right.
And sometimes I try to convince myself that it's different. It's the same music. I'm at the same instrument. It's the same guys, but it feels different. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a wonderful thing, and it's another experience. Nor is it, I don't think, particularly challenging. It can be kind of stressful, but I think to anybody who wants to or is interested in kind of furthering their musicianship, I think performing live in front of an audience is definitely something to do. Whether that could be family, that could be friends, paid, not paid. You have to start somewhere. But if you just get out and play, I think that is going to change how you feel about music, and I think it's going to increase your confidence in yourself. You may be nervous, there may be bad days, but it's a learning experience. It's always a learning experience.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It'll change how you play music for sure.
Well, I want to talk about that because I tell Michael and most people that I can play piano really well. I just can't play in front of people or any recording device.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because it's you've played, but all of a sudden, even when it's a computer listening, it feels different. I don't know, Michael, can you comment on that at all?
I'm sorry, I was looking over at Mr. Lyons for a minute, and
Michael's probably about to Michael just doesn't want to state the hard truth that I can't play any musical instruments whatsoever. But
no, Kyle's a fantastic pianist. I have yet to hear him play. I also
we got
heard
this
that
you haven't heard me play. That's
you
right.
can sing and
in the
you
shower,
can
I'm
play
really good.
another instrument.
I can do all these things as long as no one's watching.
As long as no one's watching and
Or
no
listening,
recording is going on.
It's an ear
no
thing.
witnesses.
They can watch. Ears can't be operating.
So someone who's deaf could watch you play.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. or if someone isn't deaf, they're going to want to be deaf. But no, a huge point.
Oh, Lord.
And Michael and Michael can speak to this too, is what you were saying, going from the garage to the stage. And I don't want this to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, but most people say that public speaking is one of the biggest fears nowadays, and which, of course, here we are, public speaking is not fazing us at all. But getting up on stage and having that courage to play an instrument or to sing, I don't think y'all have any vocals typically, but to do your craft, how have you guys been able to overcome that? Or were you just always, outgoing and it was easy to get on stage and perform? What that look like?
I guess what started for me was overcoming what you would call stage fright. I mean, I saw my first concert when I was 6 years old, and it was I got to see Stained and and Chevelle.
It's been a while since
I
could.
I'm
singing.
You're recording.
You're singing.
Oh,
we've got him on.
Laid it down.
We got him.
Laid it down.
Kyle, get over there to the piano.
We're on a roll.
Yeah, so I saw them live, and that's actually the same time that I knew that I wanted to play guitar. I mean, I never wanted to play any other instrument. The one instrument that I wanted to play was from that moment when I saw them play live. I said to myself, I'm like, I want to be there. I feel like that my purpose in life is to be a musician and not even be a musician. I just want to be able to be the one that like reaches out and touches people with something that we as a band create. Yeah. To see people like moved in a way, it's an absolute blessing to see that happen. And
it's good.
From that moment, I was like, that's what I want to do, and I'm going to do anything and everything in my power to do that. And I guess the first time I ever played, I was at a rock and roll camp when I was real little, and our final performance was we got to play at the poorhouse, and I mean, sure, I was nervous. I had butterflies going up on stage for the first time, but when I got on stage, I don't play for anyone else. I play for myself when I go up on stage. I mean, I don't care what one person in the back says, how my playing is, or what people say, oh man, he totally screwed up that song. I don't care. I play for myself, and that's what matters. If I felt like I did a good job, then I'm going to tell myself that I did a good job. And I mean, from that moment on, I mean, I feed off of people's energy at shows. I love seeing the response and the feedback from the crowd and all that kind of stuff when they get involved in songs, when they feel the same way that, you know, all of us feel on stage when we're vibing and they vibe with us. There's nothing like it. So I mean, of course it was a lot of stage fright at the beginning, but I mean, once you have that first initial thing, if you truly know that that's what's for you, when you go up on stage for the first time, it's all going to go away, and you're going to know and be like, yep. This is what's supposed to happen.
And how old were you that first experience getting on stage?
Oh man, I was either 9 or 10 when I did that. 9 or 10.
That's
yeah.
solid.
I did that twice. I did that camp twice, and then ever since then, I've been playing, you know, be it with a small little band that I had or at another camp or whatnot. But I mean, performing has always been a pretty big part of my life, as well as playing the actual music.
And what camp was that? Do you remember the name?
It was a camp in Mount Pleasant called Creative Spark, and it was called
That's where I went to preschool.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You went to preschool at camp? That's so cool.
But yeah, they had a rock and roll camp there over the summer, and I loved it. They had great teachers over there, and so they helped me. Definitely one of the many people in my life to help me get to the place that I am today.
Solid. It's really cool. How about you, McCormick?
I think that I go off of stage fright. I think because that's one thing that prevents a lot of people from performing. I think that I think it's something that definitely overcome. I've never been particularly nervous of performing, but I think that it definitely depends on the person. You know, because you have people, you know, like Walker said, how he was nervous and then he was able to do it, and it felt right. I think that for me, I get nervous, you know, but I know that it's something that I can do. You have to be confident in yourself. You don't have to be overly confident in yourself. I definitely make mistakes, and it's important to know that, because then that's how I'm going to perform. That's how I'm going to improve my performance. But I will say I got nervous before performing a lot as when I was younger, and I still do. You know, and that's varying degrees, but when you get up there and you just settle down. I mean, for me, you know, sitting down at the piano and you get adjusted, you know, put your fingers on the keys. Yeah, it's important. You just play. You've done this before. You know, you've practiced, and even if you haven't practiced as much as you would have liked, you know how to play this instrument, and just play. Whatever happens. I think there's definitely a flow to it, and that's no matter what music you're playing. I mean, when you're playing classical music, even though a lot of classical is very structured, but just play. Wrong notes happen. I mean, just be careful not to play two wrong notes, or else classical becomes jazz.
Right.
But
right.
No,
then you'll create a band, and then here you'll be.
Yeah. All jokes aside, this happens. I mean, notes slip, especially on piano, but just play. And you're not going to get any more comfortable with it unless you try. And that might be nervous. You know, it might be a nervous situation, but they will go away. Those butterflies will go away. And I would fully recommend it. Like I said before, it's something that can be overcome, even if you have it. I think I'm a little bit more of an introvert, even if I'm a very outgoing. I think that I am
an outgoing introvert.
I am more introverted than I am extroverted, and I think some people might be surprised to hear that, but it's who I am. That doesn't stop me from performing on stage. A lot of the, not to compare myself with the stars, but a lot of musicians, big stars, big actors, are not anything like who they are on stage. That's a persona. Not necessarily a false persona, but that's a persona they put on. They can be very different. I was reading a bio about Freddie Mercury, and talking about him off stage was just nothing like him on stage. He was quiet. He wasn't running around on stage and just singing like crazy. And so it's something that I think you can do no matter who you are, and I think it's beneficial to you and your personality and your character to just go try, and it will get better.
Yeah, that's solid. And I've got a question actually for Walker for guitar, and then since you play piano, I know you can probably come up with a pretty good piano question. Do you have one offhand, or should I ask my serious?
It's
pretty serious. Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right, it's pretty serious. So I used to play guitar here a lot.
Okay. That's great. That's a great start.
And I would get like hand cramps. Do you have to do anything to be able to do what you do? Do you like stretch? How do you get good at that kind of thing?
How did I get good at guitar?
No. Well, I do want to know that. Do you train? What do you do?
I mean, I do. I still do, your very basics. You can never, the advice that I could give to any musician, experienced, beginning, anything, never forget your basics. You cannot forget your basics. Run scales, anything like that. How I warm up for a show, or even before I start, practicing, I always run my scales. And I go through the notes on each different string, everything like that. And, I'm trying to think. At the beginning, your hand would cramp a lot. You'd also get a lot of blisters. When I started playing, I didn't like to play with a pick a lot when I started playing, so I'd strum with my thumb, and I'd get huge blisters on the side of my thumb. I
remember that. Well, not from Guitar Hero. I remember that. Realistically, I did take guitar lessons for a year, and at Academic Magnet, actually, they had guitar. They offered guitar when I was a senior, so I took it for a year.
Nice.
So I do remember some of those struggles of blisters and all that. Yeah.
You don't want to push on the strings too hard, or your fingers get hurt. They hurt because you're pushing on the strings. You're like, this hurts a lot. It's just the constant. You have to just keep telling yourself, I have to keep doing this. This is what I want to do. This is my passion. Keep going. Keep pushing. And you're gonna get it. One day you're gonna pick up the guitar and you're gonna play, and then for some reason it's gonna be 3 hours later and you go, wow, I just played for that entire time and I had no pain whatsoever. I don't have any blisters. My fingers aren't hurting, nothing. But there will be times at shows where, I'll be playing chords and I'm hammering them out, and my wrist or my arm, because I'm staying in this position constantly, it'll start to hurt. But, you just got to keep pushing through it. Especially when you're on stage, you're performing. I don't want to say you're on the spotlight, but you're up there. You can't just stop and just shake your hand for a little bit or anything. Right. You can find times to do it when you're not playing, but you got to keep pushing. Is what it is, and eventually it's just you'll get clicked, and it'll be like muscle memory, and it'll click and it'll start working.
Yeah. Were there ever chords that at first you couldn't really reach or couldn't get? Because I remember having trouble getting some of those chords at first, and I would botch them. I'd hold a fret or a string incorrectly. How'd you kind of work through that, or was it just practice?
Practice was a very key factor in learning my chords. But the worst chord that I had was the F chord. And the F chord, because
does that take a bar with the finger?
You could do the bar, but my teacher taught me the actual the chord itself without having the top full 6-string bar. So it was the bottom of it, and what would screw me up is your pointer finger would be barring across 2 strings on the same fret, and the whole barring thing it did not flow with me. And it was, how you said, muting some of the strings and they're not coming out right. And it's just, you got to mess around with how you're positioning your fingers, angle your wrist up a little bit, make it more flat, and then eventually you'll get that one time that just strums out. And then when you go to pick up your guitar, for the next time, you just got to keep strumming it till you find it, and then just repeat it. Do exercises on it, and then I promise you, eventually, you're going to get to the point where you pick up your guitar and go F chord, strum, and then it's there.
So I'm just amazed by that, because I do remember practicing, and I didn't get to nearly the level you're at, dropping the bucket compared to where you're at. But it's amazing. I'm amazed whenever, especially, tell me this, whenever you play in the dark, I see you guys play in the dark at the music farm. I'm like, how do they even know where their hand is? Is it literally just muscle memory? You practice that much?
Muscle memory.
The muscle memory is a lot of it.
It's incredible to me.
And it was a big thing when, how I mean, I'm sure it's the same for every instrument. When you look down, but especially for like piano and guitar and bass and whatnot, you look down to see where your fingers are going. But then eventually you'll get it to where F chord. Oh, I know the position. I know the positions. It's shapes, positions.
It's your periphery.
Yep. I mean, you could definitely still see it, but like, I still look down at the fretboard a lot when I play. But it's just because sometimes when I get into it, I look down and whatnot. And when I'm messing with like pedals on the pedal board and whatnot,
it's like full body movement going on here.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely look down. But I mean, it's definitely a lot of muscle memory for that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Is there any specific then guitar advice other than kind of what you just went over that you would give for some of those rising guitarists?
I'm really trying to think. I mean, pretty much people have already said it all, like the whole practice makes perfect type thing. But if anything that I could say is just if you have to I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, so to quote Yoda, "Do or do not. There is no try." You can't try to play guitar. You can try, but if you're really wanting to do it and you believe, and it's like a passion, and music's a passion, and you feel like guitar is like an instrument that you want to do, no matter how hard or how tough the times get when you're trying to do it and you feel like, man, I'm getting nowhere, I'm just plateauing everything, you're going to get a way over it. You're going to find a way. It's going to take time, but you just got to give it time. I mean, no one becomes a star overnight. No one becomes a professional overnight. You're going to have to work for it. I mean, the best things in life aren't given to you for free. You got to work for it. And all I got to say is just keep working at it. And if you truly believe that you're going to get there and it's your dream, you're going to get there. I have full faith in you, and everybody else has full faith in you.
That's solid. I'm going to go start playing guitar. I'm going to go find my guitar right now. Go for it. I do. I still have my guitar. It's just in this case, and it probably has a lot of dust on it right now. I love that. So how about specific kind of piano questions? Michael, did you have any kind of piano-ish questions?
So I used to play Piano Hero, right?
Piano Hero.
No, I'm kidding.
That'd be cool.
That would be an
that would be the
interesting
next
game.
thing,
Yeah,
man.
for real.
I tell you, the drums on Rock Band,
I love
those
those.
are some fun
I love
times right
those.
there.
I'm not a drummer at all. I could never get it.
On
I
Rock
was
Band, you
when
could be.
Yeah. I couldn't even do it on Rock Band. I remember when I first started playing piano, and I'm sure you had to do something similar, but I would start out, this is what my piano teacher told me, start out at the bottom, and I'd play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 and 5 at the same time, and those are the fingers, and you go up the whole keyboard, and then go down, and then take your left hand and do the same thing, and that's to get your fingers to be able to play the keys comfortably. And because in piano, when you play one key and then you go to the next, as you go to the next, you lift up on that key, so they're not held down at the same time. I don't know if you had any the basics that your piano teacher taught you.
I think the thing we share is which is not unique to all pianists, is classical training.
Mm-hmm.
I started out as a classical pianist, as like I said before. I mean, I still am a classical pianist, and so that's with that comes different kinds of techniques and ways to learn piano. So with classical training, you have your music theory, your scales, your chords, your chord theory, and also just finger exercises. I mean, it sounds funny, but I think I need to do more. Just finger exercises. Strengthen your fingers. Strengthen each of them individually. I mean,
you do like curls?
I was gonna say you need like you get weights. No,
it's just like in that Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah. No.
Who is it?
But,
Eli?
Yeah, but I mean, my teacher used to hand out stress balls, because then you just try to squeeze the stress ball and you just flex your fingers, and that actually helps a lot. I'm playing a pretty technical piece right now for my senior thesis. That's I'll be playing it on harpsichord, but on piano has a heavier key. And so when I'm playing on piano, it has a lot of really fast notes and a lot of notes that repeat each other. And that actually can be one of the hardest things about piano, is playing the same note in repetition, because you kind of have to wait for the key to come back up again. So there's ways to circumvent that. You can play with 2 fingers, or you just have to get really good at having strong fingers that can really press quickly. I think that's important. Just as a general skill builder. There's exercises, just doing scales. Scales, like Walker was talking about, scales are, sometimes not the most interesting thing in the world, but I think are very important. for your muscle memory, but also for your brain when you're learning, because those scales, those key signatures, are going to be important, even when you get into jazz or pop music, rock music, because that's the core of that's the core of a lot of modern music is chords, and being able to know what notes you can play that'll sound good, what notes you won't play because they sound bad, and what notes that you might play because they sound just a little off, and it's gonna make people listen. I think that's something important. That's something you'll learn as you do scales and you do some theory. So I definitely recommend, maybe if you have the opportunity, if you're in school, take a music theory class. I have not taken a specifically music theory class at school. I learned music theories through piano, and in our piano major we do talk a lot about music theory.
Right.
But I would fully recommend taking some kind of theory class to kind of get your mind. I'm a creative person, but I'm also analytical, and so the mechanics of music are very important just as much as playing. And if you can learn about more like the mental part of music, and you can learn how to play music, and you've got the emotion, if you can bring those two together, I think that's going to be the best experience for you.
That's good.
And
That's
just
so
don't forget to have those hand exercises. Play your scales. Do your hand exercises.
Stress balls.
Stress balls.
That's my takeaway right here. You gotta have the stress ball.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing, and hey, you can even use it if you're about to perform. If you need something to take your mind off it. If you're, it's multi-purpose. It's good for exercise, and it's good for nerves. So
Yeah.
there you go. Stress balls. I fully recommend it. But
Awesome.
I always tell people, back to the music theory thing, you got to know the rules before you can break them. And
That's good.
when I learned music theory, and I've known a little bit of music theory throughout my whole piano career, but last year I took AP Music Theory, actually at Magnet with Grimshaw, who taught you guitar.
Yeah.
Small world.
Oh yeah. Ian Grimshaw, shout out.
Yes, definitely. And when
He was still kicking it when I was a senior. He was probably a young buck. He was probably just graduated from high school.
Definitely, when you learn music theory, you see your instrument, and in my case, piano, in a whole different way. So that's a big part of learning piano and learning any instrument, is learning that music theory. So, like you said, what notes do what.
And I think also piano, I think, is interesting because this isn't universal. Obviously, you have a lot of very talented musicians who have never done a music theory class in their life. A lot of self-taught musicians are incredible, but I think getting training is also very helpful, and it's helped me a lot. But piano is interesting, I think, because piano is, I think, a very technical instrument. In terms of a lot of thinking can go. A lot of thinking goes into all music. I'm not putting any instrument or musician under the bus. But I think with piano, I think a lot of it kind of goes hand in hand with music theory a lot. Yeah. I don't know if I would be able to play, or I would be as happy with where I am currently in my musical journey if I didn't know some music theory along with my physical ability to play piano.
Definitely.
Solid. Well, I sent you guys this question ahead of time. So I'm curious, do y'all wear tight pants on stage, and why do musicians wear tight pants?
Well,
I'm just.
I don't know. Today I was feeling
Y'all
kind of.
aren't
I was kind of
actually. Y'all are
feeling.
solid.
I was feeling loose
that's why.
today. I've got a baggy T-shirt, big jacket, and some baggy pants.
Pretty much what I wear to school is the same thing that I wear to like a concert. It's been the same. It's been the same for me ever since I was, when I first played shows. It's been.
So you're saying you wear the same thing you wore when you were like 8?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
It's
From
just
the first days.
It's just been like, Vans or something. I've always worn skate shoes. I'm not a huge fan of I don't usually wear like tennis shoes or anything like that. I used to skateboard a lot.
I think our music lends itself to that.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the casual, but sort of like the hip look. It's just like jeans, a graphic tee, maybe a flannel or something like that. But it's more like just like the loose, chill type stuff.
Definitely depends on the music.
Of
Not
course.
walking up makes me think of a great movie. Would be the forgetting the name. There's a great movie.
It's the greatest.
Yeah, it's the greatest movie. No,
It's a great movie.
There's
I forget what it's about.
But it's a great movie.
It's a great movie that's about a band, and it's it's an awesome film. But one of the funnier things about it is there's a saxophonist in the band, and the saxophonist gets into jazz, and he comes to rehearsal one day in like a big leather jacket and dark shades, his hair slicked back, and one of the guys goes, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a jazz musician now," and it's like something along those lines, and it's like, "You look ridiculous." But
is it that thing you do? Is it that thing you do?
No, it's not. It's
Okay.
not. It might be The Commitments.
We'll edit in
Yeah.
the name.
That would be nice because it
We'll edit
is
it
a
in.
great movie.
Name
But-
here.
Yes, name here.
Yes, on the bottom of the screen.
But the
Now we've got to actually go
yes.
back and put it there.
But the it's definitely a derivative genre. But if I were to propose a reason why musicians wear tight pants, I'd say, I don't know, you might have to back me up on some guitar physics here, but if you're standing in front of your amp, I think you want to get the clearest sound possible. So I think if you're wearing tighter fitting clothes, maybe the music
Aerodynamic.
goes around you better.
Aerodynamic sound waves.
I have no clue why people wear tight pants on stage, but how I view it is that back in the 80s, that's all it was people
I
were
don't know
looking
about
for
that.
like the whole, like hair metal scene. I mean, to
okay.
be honest, guys were trying to dress like girls.
Yeah,
in
some of
the
them have
80s,
makeup
man.
on.
These
yeah.
are some wild speculations.
You've got
here.
a physics
I've got
theory.
got
You've
some-
got a history
I
theory.
do have my
This is awesome.
I do have my disclaimer. I'm an aviation geek. I love aerodynamics and stuff. So
McCormick's probably right,
Be what
though.
it may. Be what it
It's
may.
aerodynamics. That's it.
No,
I honestly
Thank
have
you.
no
I
clue.
didn't-
Well, y'all clearly don't care about the aerodynamics then. 'cause
no, it's
y'all-
definitely a
y'all aren't really-
highly sophisticated theory of the aerodynamics of music. Can you produce lift with a guitar? No.
If you play loud enough, you'll begin to levitate.
I have. This is exactly Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix probably did it.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix probably did it.
That's it.
He might have done it.
Yeah, he might have done it.
That's
No,
it.
but I have no clue why musicians wear tight pants.
Okay. Well,
It's a bit of mystery. We'll have to.
it'll be a
investigate.
lingering question then.
We should all try it. We should try it.
Let's try
We
it
should
one
just
time.
make sure everybody wears tight pants once and see if it improves our musicianship.
Okay. Let's do it.
It'll make you feel more confident.
I think it will. It's
Of
like
course.
it's like a power. It's like a power pose.
Just
or-
just
yeah.
don't jump or move a lot. Bad things might happen.
We can see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays they make them to stretch, so you don't have to
Yeah,
worry
perfect.
about that.
Stretchy type.
We could be a yoga pants band.
Oh,
I don't
God.
see why not.
Oh.
Be
Comfort,
Come on.
comfort, and
Gosh.
utility.
I know.
You're gonna have to change your name if you're gonna wear yoga pants.
I agree. Yoga yogis.
Fusion.
Yoga yogis.
I like it. Well, actually, I don't like that actually, but I like your courage. Awesome. Well, as we begin to wrap up with final thoughts and then with plugs where we can find you guys. Want to thank you guys and encourage you guys because I love you guys' passion. And again, like I said, the passion is what drives change. That's what drives you making a difference in the world. And so I love that you guys have the mindset of music to not only fill you, but also help and fill others. Because I know we all have bands that we love, and we don't just love them just to love them, but because they've influenced us in some kind of positive way. So I believe that you guys are going to continue to influence people, whether it's through Fusion Jonez, which is your current season now, or if it's some other opportunity that comes up 5-10 years down the line. You never know what'll come up. So want to thank you guys and encourage you guys, and then start and just do final thoughts or anything else you want to add, Michael.
I did have one question.
Go for it.
If we have time
Go
for
for
that. Okay.
We got time.
What's the biggest obstacle that y'all have faced in this band?
I think that it might depend on perspective, but I think one of the most important things that we have been able to overcome, or rather not really be able to overcome, but it's been something that's I think important when you're in a band is being able to interact with each other in a positive way. And I think that's important in anything. I think that an obstacle you're going to encounter when you're working with people is other people, but you're also going to encounter, challenges in yourself. You got to be willing to compromise, and find a middle ground, and maybe not a middle ground or a compromise in the way of thinking about what you're sacrificing, but find something you can do, something you can play, that
A nice alternative.
that you like, that your band members like, and that you want to show people. I think that getting better at interacting with each other is something that we have learned a lot about,
Of
and I
course.
think it's made us a better band. Yeah, there will always be hiccups, but I think that for the most part, we do a really good job of being a cohesive unit. And some of our mentors have said that before. Is you guys seem to be doing a really good job with putting up with each other, and I think that
It's important.
I'm very grateful for that. I think that it's something that you'll encounter in most parts of your life. You've got to interact with people during your life. So if you're going to interact with people, you might as well make it something that you're going to feel happy about. So I think that's a really important thing.
Working well together.
Mm-hmm.
In other words.
I mean, a band's a family. I mean, it's as much as it's a family. I mean, it's a whole different kinds of stuff. I mean, it's a family, it's a business. It's not one sole person that's in control of everything. I mean, it's like you said, it's a unit. And I mean, when something's not right, everything's not right. Because I mean, when some person falls behind, everybody falls behind. And it's as a band's job is to pull everybody up, not just that one person up. We're always striving for everybody to be better, but I feel like McCormick said it pretty well that I feel like that we're a pretty strong, unit together. We understand each other. We interact with one another in ways that, another person might not interact with us, but our chemistry and our bond together, I think is something special. I like it a lot.
I think it is. And and this is going to sound like a duality because it is, but I think it's working with people, sometimes you need to be able to kind of slow down and, really analyze things. And other times I think that you really just need to go for it, make a jump. And it's just a matter of getting together and choosing when to make those jumps and when to slow down as a group is going to improve our band and improve anybody's group, anybody's band, family relationship. I think it's very good general advice. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good takeaway.
Solid.
I like it.
That's solid. Well,
I stand by it.
Mm-hmm.
Final thoughts. that could have been the capstone then, but I don't know. Do you have any then final words of encouragement, things to maybe I don't know, a sentence or two that you'd like to leave people with?
I think that whatever you enjoy doing, I think that it's something it's worth exploring. And it's also true. If you enjoy doing something, do it. But that's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you enjoy something, or I think that you need to find something that you enjoy doing, and I think that dive into it. Leave room for other things, though. Be able to be open to learning new things and exploring new things. There will be challenges. I know we've had challenges as musicians. We've had challenges in our personal lives. I mean, everybody encounters challenges. That's a fact of life. But I think that by finding something that interests you, like music interests me, like music interests Walker, you can have something to hold on to and to explore. And I think that will help you in your life with whatever you're going through currently, with whatever you might go through. And it gives you, I mean, as corny as it sounds, it gives you purpose.
That's absolutely
true. And that doesn't have to be one thing. I mean, I love doing so many things, and I love thinking about so many things. I'm a musician, but I love engineering and technology. That's something I'm looking at for a future.
You're also going diving?
I'm going
diving.
Yes.
Sky or water?
Water diving.
Water, okay.
I'm going to go get my PADI certification this coming week.
Wow.
So I love I love doing outdoors things. I love backpacking, hiking, camping, reading. I'm a nerd. Music, like I said before, I love making videos. I love editing. And I'm saying that it's like, I've got all these things I love doing. But I think that if you find one thing that you like doing, I think that you will find more through it. Find something you enjoy and learn about it. And that's what got me here. And that's what got me into music and kept me in music. It's what got me there, and it's what's kept me continuing it. It's exploration and openness and learning, and I don't want to stop learning. I want to keep doing it because that is what I enjoy. And I guess that would be my takeaway, is to just go and explore and find new things and hold on to them, and it will make life better.
Solid.
That was good. I like that a lot.
Walker, how about you? You got any final?
Oh
words
man,
or
I don't know
thoughts?
how I could top that.
You don't have to top it. It's something that I enjoy, and it's
I
something
mean,
that you should.
he pretty much just said it all, man. I mean, when you find something that you truly find, like, I mean, yeah, the corny thing of like the whole, man, this is my purpose type thing. But in all honesty, a person has every right to feel like that. If you feel like that your sole purpose in life is to, find a cure for cancer, or to become the next, Wayne Gretzky or Jimi Hendrix or something. If you feel like that's what it's got to be, then go do it, because that's your dream. That's your drive. Once you find that you have a drive for something, don't let that go. But like you said, you're always going to find new things as well that interest you. And don't just stop at just one. Always keep searching for that next one, but don't search too hard, because in all honesty, it finds you, is what it does. Like, I wasn't searching for something to find me in my life. It so happened that I was in the right place at the right time, and I realized at the right moment that that's what I needed to do in life. And as my dad said, and I actually made this my senior quote this year, don't be the next Jimi Hendrix, be the first Walker King. And I
I like it.
Yeah.
do that now.
Don't be the next Jimi Hendrix. Be the insert name here.
Yeah, be
Right,
the
right,
insert
yeah,
name
right.
here. Yeah.
I think I appreciate that.
But yeah.
No offense to the certain Walker King.
No. All the other Walker
Unless your
Kings
name
out
is-
there. Shout out to the other Walker Kings
yeah,
out there.
Am I right? There's other Walker Kings out there.
But yeah, that's what I've been living by, is don't be the next something, be the first. Insert name here.
There's a reason that
Solid.
there's a reason you've heard this before, and I think it's true. I mean, you hear it from different people. You'll hear it from your friends. I hope you'll hear it from mentors. You'll hear it. Maybe that's something you'll find in a religion. You'll hear that there. You'll hear it from Keanu Reeves shouting it. But
I like Keanu Reeves.
I think it's true, and as many times as it's repeated, I think that it's very personal and important. So I'd agree with you there, Walker. I think that it's important to be you and do it and have fun.
Exactly.
Solid. Plugs. Where can people find you?
Plugs. You can find us, Fusion Jonez, on Facebook and Instagram under Fusion Jonez.
Just keep in mind, this is with a Z, not an S.
Yes,
with a Z.
That's why I was saying Jones.
I
How
think
many
it-
Z's again?
Just
Just
one.
one.
Just
Okay,
one.
good.
I think that it's and it's is it Fusion Jonez SC?
Yep. Instagram is Fusion Jonez SC.
So you can find us on there. We also do have a YouTube channel, which we need to update. We'll have more audio and more video coming.
We post all of our tour dates on our Facebook page. We update it on Instagram as well. We have a Bands in Town. You can follow us on Bands in Town. Just find us, Fusion Jonez, whatnot. Got a couple shows coming up in March. Looking at some stuff in the summertime. I know Asher just told me today that he might be opening up for Soul Driven Train at the Party at the Point over the summer, which would be pretty cool.
That'd be awesome. That's a big event.
Just expanding on it. Just released our album about what would you say, a month ago?
Yeah, just about a month ago, we
Yeah, I saw that.
Sleight of Hand is our first album. We recorded it with Todd at Return to Zero here in town, over in Folly. They got a recording studio out there, and that's been a great experience, and it's been very exciting to release it. So if you are interested, we do sell CDs, so you can contact us, hit us up on Facebook or Instagram, or if you see us in person, just ask.
Yeah.
We would be happy to share our music with you.
Oh, yeah. Should be posted on iTunes, Spotify, getting it out on the digital side instead of having to sell the hard copies, because everything's digital nowadays.
Yeah.
So we should be getting it out there pretty soon, and we'll let everybody know whenever we get that done.
So we would be very excited to have you guys on our journey, and we're happy. I mean, thank you. You guys already are. Thank you for
thank you all very
inviting
much for
us.
This was
Oh,
great.
yeah.
And thanks. Michael reached out to me a little while ago and called and said, hey, I'm on this podcast with a good buddy of mine, and I was talking about you guys, and wanted to see if he could have you on. I was like, sure. Yes.
This is a great
I didn't
opportunity,
know
man.
quite
Thank you
what to
guys
say.
very
This is
much.
exciting, and so I mean, shout out to Generation Giants for what you're
Kyle
doing.
Taylor.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I think it's an awesome opportunity to share new voices, young voices especially.
Yeah.
It's obviously not just us. I know that you guys have, a good bit of episodes already out there that I would fully recommend people check out. So, yeah, thanks for having us on the show.
Thank you
Awesome.
very much.
No, pleasure's ours. Thank you guys.
We were meant to live for so much more. Have we lost ourselves?